So you are from Mexico?
Sorry?
That's right? You are from Mexico?
Mexico, yes.
Okay. France. France. Okay, so welcome. So we are just standing in the heart of the city, and Provins is known since the early 9th century as a fortified place overlooking marshes. And since the discovery of the relics of Saint Allure around the first millennium, the monks who organized the pilgrims decided to drain all this spout, and you can see two rivers that was good to settle mills for tanning and what else. So the bipolarity of the city is born, and the history of Provins, this is the connection between these two parts. And here we, yes, between these two parts you've got a vertical drop of 150 meters, and you've got the former quarry here that was used to extract limestone that was used for the official Cellars Tower or the St. Curious Church and all houses from the 1200. And nowadays it's about 157 houses from this time. So that's why Provins is classified to the UNESCO for 20 years. And so this quarry was so important with a huge activity during the time of a trade fair with the Count of Champagne during between 11th and 13th century, because Provins was considered as the third city after Paris and Rouen. It was very attractive in economy in Europe at this period, and it was a luxurious wares that was exchanging, and of course, and the county of Champagne was in the middle of Europe, so it was easy to make all the business around. Okay, and nowadays you've got 1 kilometer, 200 of fortified walls, and for example, last week it was a very big event, and 25,000 people were there to inaugurate the end of the restoration. Voilà. And so the network that you can see here, it's less than 10 kilometers, and we are visiting a small part, the official part of 250 meters long, and it was always used as a storing place for wares. When a trader was went to another place, he can leave his ware here and then deliver to his home. This is one of these genius ideas of the Count of Champagne. So here we are in the lower room of this former hospital, because Provins at this time it was about 10,000 people, but with the pilgrims, traders and travelers, it was important to have this hospital building, and because at this time we were afraid of mortal disease, of course, like nowadays. So it was a way to protect. And this hospital, it was important during the 60s, and some of our tourists say, "Oh, we are born here long time ago." Oh yeah. Yes, so let's go and see inside.
Son divididas. Eso, vamos a ir, ahorita te explico. El mapa ahorita te explico. Estaba dividida en dos. La vieja parte que la usaban para extraer las piedras que utilizaron para las catedrales. Ya más adelante pues quitaron esa barrerita y ya juntaron las dos ciudades.
Vous allez pouvoir vous arrêter ici, très bien.
Nada más ¿te acuerdas de Dios que vimos arriba? Ese es un... Dice que la mayoría... No, dice que la mayoría de la gente que...
Okay, so we are just waiting two more people. C'est le calcaire. Not really interesting for the history, but here this is the only place where you can feel and touch the rock. After this, follow me please, after this borderline, this boundary, you are not able to touch, okay? So if you want to feel the 12 degrees and the high rate of humidity is about 80%, you can feel that it's a stone easy to work for building, sculpture and what else, okay?
Esta construida aquí lo usaban para almacenar cualquier cosa, comida, bebida. Mucho tiempo fue así. Durante la guerra aquí se escondía la gente.
Okay, so all these cellars are dug out like a stunning egg, because you've got here the natural pillar which bears the hospital building, and we are walking, and which is quite surprising. You can see some finger traces. It was a way for the quarrymen to polish on surface when they got no tools, for example, like a referral. And usually you got some ventilation shaft to breathe inside. And nowadays, so we don't need it, but you feel that it's easy to breathe here. And here you've got the place with these holes when you can get some light. So no torch because it's too much smoke inside. A candle is quite reserved to noblemen or monks. So animal fat lamp is quite good for that. It was easy to insert. So here you've got the place of an iron grade, and you've got a soldier who keep an eye on you to check if you were able to come in or not, because this is luxurious wares, so no reason to get some stored in what else. So, but you have to understand that for the citizens in the lower town, they couldn't have private cellar in their home because there was water of marché, so they rented also a place for storing whatever they needed to eat. And according to what they need, they can come in and take. Okay. We'll see here some engraving.
Dice que la gente no puede tener sótanos, entonces Entonces rentaban este espacio para almacenar su comida como esto, ¿sí? Y podían venir y sacar lo que quisieran cuando quisieran.
Okay, so after the decline of the trade fair, the underground galleries were still used as a storing place. And here you've got the name of a trader, Le Bazin in 1700. And because it was quite fresh, and all around Paris, you've got places like Provins. Paris. Okay, so it was a way
Comercio.
to earn
No
lots
parece aquí.
of money.
Todo lo que se comerciaba en Francia llegaba aquí y salía de aquí. Por eso Provins fue un lugar muy importante.
And that's why the city grew up and grew up a lot. Not too much. So, of course, you don't have the iron grid anymore, and I don't want you to think that it was a jail. No, never, never in the underground gallery. The jail, they're in the Cellars Tower, in the round towers, of course. And here it was, yes, only to store wares, luxurious wares. And after the 14th century, of course, milk, water, wine, of course, because it's good condition for that. And you have to understand that, for example, yes, not so far away during the Second World War, a part of citizens use it as a temporary shelter when it was bombing outside. So, okay, it was fresh, but they didn't mind of that at this time. Okay? Okay, so you can see, and you can switch on the torch. Voilà, lots of cellars, of course. So a long network. And you can identify all the natural pillars here. So it's, voilà, people have thought about dug out before to make it tough to support. Very good. So by this way, to go to the second part.
¿Sabes que iban a construir cabañas? Tenían que poner un tubo para que respire, para que entre el aire pudiera la gente respirar. Perdón.
Okay, so let's have a look. Just discover with you. Oh, not so much humidity. Oh yeah, no bread. Okay, so no humidity, not enough today. Yes, I cannot show you some anyway, but you understand, like the way the water crystallized to make stalactite. Of course, it's only 1 millennium ago, so it's not so old. So it's quite new. And you've got pyrite, flint, of course. And it's just to understand the way that, for example, in the lower town, in the early 20th century, you've got yes, this tradition to take some bath in ferruginous sources because it was good for health, for the body, for mind. You pray on relics of Saint Ayul or Saint Kyrios in the upper town. And of course, it's a question of faith, of course, it's a question of belief, but nowadays, since humans are on Earth, it's important to believe in something. What you want, but something. And I would like to show you a big flint. Voilà, it's a reason to talk about the prehistorical period in Europe. I don't know how it is in your country, but maybe 15,000 years ago. And it's the way humans discovered fire. And today we talk about not fire, but power of energy. It's the same at this time. When I'm talking about this man, I'm talking about you, me, it's the same. Because they discovered it to make some experiences, of course, to analyze the results and with the fire changing in daily life, to get some light, of course, but to get warmer in their home, if I can talk like this. And they were able to cook before, not possible. And it was a way to protect from enemies or wild animals, like nuclear power today. And it was a way with the fire to make war to other people who don't get this sorts of power. So you understand, which is quite similar between old time and now. It's the same. But of course, it's electricity, but it's the same. And these people, with all this experience, decided to change their tools and their weapons, which were made with flint, to change to make it with iron. Because they discovered that in the rocks you got some iron, and it's quite modern. Okay, so it's just a way to say it's important to study, to analyze, to make experience, good or bad. Even if it's bad, you got always a good reason, and because today we used to go faster. But to make the experience, you have to take your time to understand what is around you, to analyze and understand what you can take to modernize your life. So some inscription were written with a charcoal, like this one. So maybe it's better to be. It mentions Louis Bélanger-Polisson at the time of the French Revolution. And we analyzed the charcoal to be sure of that. We are okay with the date. And we know that this hand with this charcoal made also this layer, this bedding profile. If you want to come here. So it symbolized like a king of France. At this time, we can talk about Louis XVI with the rope around his neck, with his crowning, what else? And the link with the city of Provins is that his executioner was native from Provins, Mr. Sanson. And so he was the last people to see the king alive, if you prefer. So, yes, it's a good reason, yes. Because usually in other places in France, it's easy to say, oh, the king came in and visited us. Yes, good, and what else? So we've got a good reason. Okay. And I can talk about Louis XV's secretary, who was native from Provins. Maybe if you've got the time this afternoon, you can visit the museum. And you've got all these explanations of that, for example. Oh, yes, okay. Okay, so here this is Mr. Courtois Alfred. He was a wine trader, and you've got on the rock is a account book. And you've got the numbers of bottles of wine, of Burgundy wine, Centenay, 484 bottles of wine, at the date of January the 2nd in 1860, and you can see that the number is down because the business is good. Yes, and you've got, of course, very good conditions for storing wine. And this family still existed at Centenay, and they used to rent different cellars, some for Nuit Saint-Georges, prestigious wine, or Chambertin, not so much prestigious, so Chambertin, then Centenay, and Nuit Saint-Georges. I am from Burgundy, so you can trust me. Okay. So, sometimes you got some ventilation shaft to get new air inside. So usually we don't need it anymore. But if you want to have a look on the private cellar, you can come closer and have a look. How many days in France? Okay. Oh, not so much.
No, it's our third time in.
Okay.
It's,
Okay. I understand. And is it your first trip in France or not?
No, well, here it's our
Yeah,
first time,
the first
but
time.
it's the second time we're here in France.
Okay. So this weekend is a special weekend in France because in the whole the country we celebrate the heritage and patrimony. So most of historical monuments are opened. It's a special weekend. Yes, it's always the third one in September, and we called it in France Journée du patrimoine. So this is a special dark room because we are in the underground galleries, but dark because only covered with charcoal. Because this is, you can come here to have a better view. Because Provins is linked to mysterious time, mysterious traditions of Templar, and of Freemasonry, of course. Yes, still existed today, Freemasonry at Provins. But basically, they used to gather here, and it was a special room for the new member. It was like a ritual. They have to spend before a night to think about the way to be involved. And the day after, the oldest man came and say, "You're still okay?" "Yeah, yes, okay." So he made this, up là, and here you've got a big hole, and he needed to jump to say, "I trust in you," yes. And I didn't say, well, I don't say, but all members were here to receive the new member. Yeah. So if you don't trust me now, you will never trust me. Yes. Yes, a good reflection, because today people are afraid of all. Yes, all. But imagine Neil Armstrong, if at this time, for this discovery of moon, if he was afraid, never moon. Christophe Colomb, never America if he was afraid. So what is new? It's a way to challenge you. Yes, so you had to be happy for that. Huh? Okay, let's go further. So you've got 3 levels of extracting, and you can see different traces of rock, because it was the quarrymen used to go up to the surface what they were extracting. I'm very glad to show you this name of George W.
George
Not
W.
Bush.
George Bush.
Washington. Yes, because, and we've got newspaper from the 19th century who explain the way that this president came to France, to Provins, and he was a member of the Freemason. And you know that this special city of democracy in a country is made as a Freemason ideas, with the location of building, of streets, and all this. So it's a special for you. Okay, I have nothing from Mexico or yes. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay, so here you've got the name. You can come here to better view. Dotzenberg in 1860. So it's an important date because it's 10 years before the Prussian wars with the France and Prussia. And Dotzenberg was a carpenter, and he was engaged in different work at Paris. And between Germany and Paris, he spent a moment at Provins to see his colleague. And usually they go down here, and so he engraved his name. And you can see he engraved easily his name, because with the humidity and the pointed tools, it was easy to engrave. But when it's tough, vertical, usually you use big letters. Yeah, okay. So this man engraved his name, David Gautier. It's a common name, Gautier, in the area. And so he engraved his name in 1857, and he was a water diviner. This is in this room that he got his final way to find water in the ground. So I explain, you use 2 wooden sticks to find water in the ground, and then, not here, not to find water here. It's a ritual room to finalize your study. It's not really study, but okay. For example, I am able to find water. I show you during several weeks, and then we finalize here to give you the power to find water. Okay, it's the ritual. And here you've got circular the compass, which was used to make that. And it was so important because with all the ground in the area is made with farmers and wet, and so we celebrate last month's harvest, the last week of August, and so water is important for that. Okay, and you can see the way he engraved his name. It's made like if he engraved during the Gothic time of the 13th or 14th century. Okay. Voilà. Puis on monte. Attends, je sais c'est le passage, il va tranquille. Hop. Voilà. Voilà. Vous allez pouvoir vous avancer. Going to see clover. Nice letter from Middle Age. That made in the Middle Ages. Gautier. So a second engraving just before the French Revolution. And you've got Nicolas Jovsetti, a cooper boy, was engaged to go down here to check water, milks and waters. And the boss never got down because so, but he went down once a year to make the inventory. And so in 1788, he went down and discovered that the apprentice engraved his name. But he's not the boss. So he engraved his name on the top and said, hey, I am Clément. MRA, it's for master. With the date, and he highlighted. Oh la la, the apprentice. Maybe because he didn't know what was his place. So he said, no, you're not able to engraving because you're not a master. Okay. But we know with the official paper that later you would be one master, and we know that he rented another cellar, so he was able to engrave it. But sometimes you can make some mistakes once, and then you know what you have to do to work hard and to make your dreams come true. Yeah.
Cuidado. Mira, son rosas.
So would you like to live in this sort of house from 1200?
Yes.
Because in the upper town you've got all these houses, and sometimes people used to live like in the Middle Age. Oh, no, it's modern, the house is old, but with new technology. New technology. And so I've told you about this 157 houses from 1200. It's one, this one. And you've got, for example, foliage on the capitals. And each trader was between this column. And it was a period of 2 months to make business. 2 periods, one in May, the second one in September. So they used to gather to rent a house from one city, for example, Genova, Bruges, what else. And so usually today we welcomed, yes, in April, some students of the University of Chicago, students in economy. And when they want to learn economy and history, they come to Provins. They used to come because to understand the system of business at this time, which is quite the same as today, even if new technology, but to trust in the money, to understand the way to make some benefit. It's quite the same. And to understand this famous trade fair in Europe during 11th and 14th century. What can we say about the reasons of decline? First, the wedding of Joan of Navarre, which was the last member of the family of Champagne, and she decided to marry the King of France. Philippe le Bel, and as he got his own fair in Paris, he decided to cancel all ones in Champagne. So no currency, and so the business, he was the only one to make the business. But this period was so dynamic in economy. For example, in North Europe, they were able to make so luxurious wares like in Provins. But Provins was quite too much expensive, so no idea to change, so the business could go down and nothing. And so very happy you to be here, because you are part of these millions of visitors, and the city invests each year millions of euros to make the renovation, the cleaning of ramparts, and the new project since yesterday. It's the cleaning of an old church. It's exceptional, it's opened today. The 3 next Sundays it's open and then closed to make the cleaning. This is Sainte-Croix. So yes, I invite you to go. It's not so far away, maybe 100 meters. And so this is a new project of this 5 next year, because this church was closed during 40 years. So exceptionally opened and then closed to make the painting. And then a very nice building, I hope. Okay? Okay, so let's go to Tudor Street and we'll show you the way to go there.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share with your friends. And do not forget to subscribe to never miss anyone. So then, let's wander.